Hi, and welcome to that time of the week when the stars come out to play and waffle away to the main man, the top banana, the big kahuna, the waffle meister himself, Mr. Steve Blacknell.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Waffle Show with me, Steve Blacknell. Yes, another gripping episode where we talk to loads of celebrities about their life, their love and what makes them tick. Later we'll be talking to the musical genius, that is Midge Ure. And we'll be talking to a gentleman who is the vocalist in the world's #1 Led Zeppelin tribute band. He's Billy Kulke, and the band is Letz Zep. But now to a lady who is reinventing magic wherever she goes. She's really an incredible lady. Her name is Laura London. Laura, welcome to the Waffle Show.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Wonderful to see. You've got lovely hair you had. Mine used to be that, but now mine's white, unfortunately. But so Laura, when did your love of magic first start? How old were you?
I mean, it's the only thing I've ever done. I've done it since I was a little girl. I was 8 years old when I saw a magician. Thankfully, my mum owned a nightclub as you know, and she booked magicians. She booked a lot of, musicians and performers alike. So when I said I wanted to do magic after seeing a magician, she didn't think it was too ridiculous, thankfully. And after that, every budget, for Christmas and birthday I got to spend at the magic shop, that's all I did, really. I went and sat in Davenport's, which was this hidden little secret emporium under Charing Cross Station. It was somewhere else before that, but that was sort of when I was around, when I was little. And yeah, I just lived there, really. I just used to go and practice all the magic tricks, buy them all, and I never stopped, really.
Well, I used to manage a close-up magician years ago, and he'd take me to Davenport's, and I thought it was incredible. As you say, it's like a sort of TARDIS. You step in there, and you're in another world entirely. It's incredible. Yeah.
Absolutely, and also there was a woman behind the counter called Betty Davenport, and so I know a lot of people are like, what about this women in magic thing? I went, well, I've always known women in magic, because the one that used to sell me my magic tricks at Davenport's was this incredible lady called Betty. So yeah, it really was a special place.
But didn't a lot of, I suppose, something like the Magic Circle, we'll talk about in a sec. But did you get a lot of men turn their nose up, saying, "A woman doing magic? No, really?"
I would say that probably has happened in the past. I've never really experienced that. I'm not that person. I'm also a historian in magic, so I happen to do talks on certain aspects of history in my industry, and one of them is a woman called Mercedes Talma. Houdini himself said she was the greatest sleight-of-hand performer that ever lived, and she was she was born in 1860s, so this woman had been around for a very long time, and from 1890 right through to like 1920 she was performing and topping the bills all over the world. So I think there has been that attitude, certainly. And when I joined the Magic Circle, I was the youngest female to do it, because I did it on my 18th birthday and literally passed a few days later. So, I was eager, but I was also a punk, and so when I finally got the balls, as it were, to go into the building, I felt a bit awkward, but in fact, weirdly, it was a woman who came up to me and said, are you a member? I said, yes. She said, well, if you're going to start coming here, you need to start dressing more appropriately. At the time I had an undercut and a big furry mohawk, So I thought, well, screw this. So I almost walked out and never came back. But again, as I walked out the door, this woman was standing outside having a fag, and she goes, "Who are you?" I went, "Well, I'm Laura." And this guy says to me that's standing next to her, goes, "Oh, this is the woman your mother warned you about." And I looked at her and I said, "Are you Faye Presto?" And she said, "Yes." I went, "Oh no, actually, on the contrary, you're exactly the woman my mother told me to find." And she did, because my mum had booked Faye Presto and said, "If you go to the Magic Circle, make sure you find this woman, because she's brilliant." And after that, she became my mentor for several years and took me under her wing. So I was really lucky. And of course, now I'm the chair of the society, so all of that's well behind me. And now we're such a diverse and brilliant club, with people from all walks of life. So it's great.
Well, before I lost all my money, I used to hire Faye to come to my Holland Park mansion-ish, pay her loads of money. But boy, Faye was good, absolutely. And what
still is.
Yeah,
she's still going.
Really amazing. So, did you feel that you had to convince people, let alone being a woman, but coming into a male-dominated thing that people have been there for years and years? You're walking into what is really an institution, aren't you?
I don't think so. I think being a magician means just being as good as you can be. It doesn't matter of your gender, how, where you come from, whether you're poor, whether you're rich, whether you can afford the latest trick, whether you just have to sit there studying books, I think that the turning point for me was when I'd decided to specialize in a very, very specifically male-dominated section of the magic industry, which was gambling, cheating, and the techniques and performances that come in that sort of area, which is where my show is. So my show is about a card cheat from the 1920s, and sort of no woman had really touched on that sort of side of things. But otherwise, I feel that so many of the other genres of magic, and I do think they're as vast as music, really, the illusionists are nothing like mentalists are nothing like close-up magicians, yet we somehow all come together with this shared passion of deception, which is slightly odd, but, we all love this industry that brings all different people together that might be interested in different parts of magic, but yet somehow we're still all quite knowledgeable in all of them. So, most mentalists and illusionists even still have a sort of general understanding of some of the close-up magic and vice versa and all of that. That's why we all congregate in various conventions all around the world and absolutely love it. So, yeah, it's a special industry and the Magic Circle is certainly at the heart of it.
Well, you see something like Penn and Teller or whatever, or the greats, whatever. What I've always found disappointing is when magicians tell you how it's done. I always find myself feeling a bit let down, because when you see a magician such as yourself, you want that essence of mystery of how the hell did she do that? I mean, what's your opinion about magicians who reveal stuff?
I mean, that's a very topical subject you've just hit on, because actually myself and the council of which we have now at the Magic Circle, and in particular our president Marvin Burgos, we were all of the opinion that Penn and Teller should be members, and we've very famously not allowed them into the club obviously for many years since they've sort of been around. And last year we changed that. We actually inducted them into the Magic Circle, which was fantastic, and we're all very happy about that. But of course there were members that weren't. Because, arguably, especially back in the day, they gave away secrets.
Yeah.
I'm of the opinion that there is a big difference between Penn and Teller, who have arguably changed magic in the most positive way because of their ability to get young people to be fascinated by it. Don't forget they came around in days where Paul Daniels and Nixon was just out. He just sort of left, and suddenly there's this sort of working man's club magician, which had a very different old-fashioned kind of take after a while. And then the 90s hit, and Penn and Teller just exploded. I mean, they were there before then, but in the 90s they just exploded on your screen, and suddenly a whole new generation of young people thought this was the coolest thing in the world, and I was kind of one of them. Same with Simon Drake, really, But
I know Simon, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, sorry, Simon, if he is. I know we adore Simon, but yeah. But yeah, so I think when they do give away their magic tricks, one, it's their own methods. Two, they're still deceiving you, and it's still incredibly entertaining, and it's still something everybody wants to see. But you don't go away going, you know what, now I know how to do it. Whereas people on YouTube, for example, these young people who just don't care and are giving away secrets, and they're doing it in a way that, especially, more importantly, when they're giving away people's secrets of creators in our industry. So someone who has just created or invented a really brilliant new trick that has hit the market that everyone is really loving and doing, and then some idiot goes and reveals it. Of course, that's not okay, and we certainly don't stand for that at the Magic Circle.
Well, you mentioned Nixon then. I guess you're referring to David Nixon, and he was certainly one of the first TV magicians. Whether he was the first, I don't know. But I remember when as a kid getting the David Nixon magic box for Christmas, and it was like, whoa, a whole new world. And
he wasn't quite the first, actually. The first
who was the first?
So the first was David Berglas in the 1950s.
Ah, right.
And he also had a magic set, and I
he?
worked with him for many, many years before he passed away. And it's actually, he was the president of the Magic Circle, and his son is now. But he was the first, and then he was with Nixon, yeah.
And did Berglas, was that in the UK as well?
Yeah.
Really?
It was in the UK. It's also in, I believe, Switzerland as well. Yeah, some sort of bizarre crossover where he ended up in TV in Germany or something like that. Can't quite remember, but yeah, he sort of hit the TV stations around the world. But England, yeah, he also had The Mind and Magic of David Berglas, which was in the
yes, I remember that. Yes, I remember that. Yeah,
but he had some shows before.
One thing I found quite interesting or astonishing, actually, looking at some footage and quotes from you, that you're when you go to Davenport's or whatever, but you're continually amazed at new tricks. You're sort of like, wow, that's the sort of impression I got. So you're not impervious to all this stuff. The wow factor goes on, yeah?
I think it's so important as a magician. It's all I've ever done. If you can't still enjoy watching it, being fooled by it, not being that person who desperately needs to know how it's done, then you always know how the spectator, the audiences feel as well. And if you lose that, I think you lose a little bit of the magic in general, really. So I absolutely love going to magic events and seeing magicians be brilliant, and I have no idea what's happening, and the new, something new that I've never seen before, blowing my mind. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Our Californian viewers, I used to live right by the Magic Castle in Hollywood, and I literally about 3 streets up, or 2 blocks as they call it. But I used to go there all the time, and it was an incredible experience. I mean, and I guess the Magic Castle is still there, yeah?
Yes, I perform at it often.
Really?
So, yeah. So I'm there quite often, once or twice a year. It's still a truly magical place. That's been going since, I believe, 1963.
Wow.
Still going strong. If for those that don't know what it is, it's a literal castle in Hollywood. It certainly looks like a castle on the top of a little hill there. And so it's a purpose-built building for magic. So there's a parlor space, a close-up space, there's a place to see illusions and things, and you just go there, as you know, Steve, and the absolute rule is that there is a very strict dress code. So you have to wear a suit and tie,
right? And
if you do not turn up with one, you'll either be turned away, or they'll make you wear one from the back, and trust me, you don't want that because it generally doesn't fit. So yeah, so if you see people walk around the Magic Castle with ill-fitting suits, it's usually because they've turned up in the wrong attire.
That was probably me.
Yeah, it's an amazing place, and and some of the greats like Di Vernon used to be there all the time. Slightly before my time, but it's had just people walk through those doors that are truly amazing, and it's full of celebrities, obviously, that go and watch the magic. So it's a very popular place.
Well, it certainly made my money disappear because it wasn't cheap. But
it's still not cheap.
But you are a globetrotter. You work in many countries. Does the reactions from people vary from America, say, to here or whatever, or is it pretty uniform? Like astounding, different vibe. Do you think?
mean, there's always the joke, and you go to America, you do a magic trick, and they run away and they're screaming. You do magic for an English person, they're like, "Oh, very well. How did you do that?" You know, I mean, there's always, you know, it depends where you are. I think reactions are reactions. You know, America are usually a bit more over the top, but the rest of the world is, as long as you do a good job, usually pretty amazed and react quite similarly if you're a good magician. I would say America is one of the only countries where they go a bit over the top.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, you're right. And we say, "Oh, well done, jolly good." Yes. But let's come back now to the big news, is that you are the first woman to be the boss. I don't know what the actual title of the magic. You're not the boss, but you are the. What are you? What's your title?
I'm the chair of council, so
right.
We have a council at the Magic Circle. We have obviously the president, and myself, and the secretary and treasurer. You know, all that sort of thing that you get in these sort of things. We all are the officers of the Magic Circle, and we try and keep things moving as best we can. We have a brilliant council of wonderful magicians, and you know, we all muck in, and you know, we've got our own building, we've got our own. You know, if we have public shows, so it's not quite just this small magic club where you might just kind of try and chair or try and run something quite small. You know, we're a club of 1,800 members with a building that has to make money and has to sustain itself in the heart of London. So yeah, it's quite a job, but it's one that is collaborative with some brilliant people. And but yes, I'm the first female to be given that.
So in the supposed entertainment industry, I don't know about you, but I sometimes think, oh, wouldn't that be brilliant? And the ultimate gig in the sky, something I'd love to do. Is there anything that passes through you sometimes you think, oh, wow, now if I could do that, I'd be complete?
Oh, do you know what? I'm so lucky. I get to travel around the world doing, you know, private events. I get to meet the most interesting people. I get to write my own shows. You know, I've performed for the King and the Queen. I think I'm all right. I think, to be honest, all the things that I would have quite liked to have done, I'm sort of doing, which I'm very, very grateful for. You know, I probably in time will slowly kind of step out of the performing in the next 10 years or so. I'm going to get into more sort of the lecturing, which I already do, and teaching and stuff, and maybe going into a bit more of a consultancy job and doing that sort of thing. So that's something I enjoy doing, and I quite enjoy doing. There is something rather exciting though, which I think I can tell you about. But you might have heard the story of Sophie Lloyd. It hit the press over 2 years, 2024. We were all over the press because the Magic Circle were looking for a woman who infiltrated the club and pretended to be a man.
No.
And got in to prove that women were just as good as, obviously, the male contemporaries. And we looked for her. The press went a bit wild with it, and we found her. And then last year, we inducted her into the Magic Circle. She became a member. She's also my very, very dear friend, Sophie Lloyd, who pretended to be a man called Raymond Lloyd. And along with her friend, Jenny Winstanley, who was the magician and the brainchild behind this deception. They literally spent 18 months deceiving, working on this deception with this sole intention of deceiving the Magic Circle. And they did it, and they did it brilliantly well. Not only have we apologised as a society, and we had to, because 3 months after Raymond Lloyd was inducted, they let women in, and when they said, ta-da, we did this thing, the Magic Circle were furious. They kicked them out, or at least they kicked Raymond Lloyd out, and they did that on the same day that they inducted the first 12 women. So yeah, it was quite a story. She and I are writing the book now, and there's some exciting other things that are coming with that, so that'll be in the next sort of year or two to keep an eye out. That's probably going to take me in quite a different direction, but one that's really fun and exciting.
Well, as long as it's not a misdirection, you'll be fine. There you go, Laura. God bless. Time to disappear, and thank you so
very much
for coming on the Waffle Show.
You're watching Spectrum on Air, XPTV3.
Thanks to Laura London. Okay, there's an old joke about Ultravox. Do you like that song? Oh, no, it means nothing to me. Joking aside, we've got the man himself coming up, Midge Ure.
Hey Steve, I'm doing incredibly well. How are you?
Yeah, great. I think it's probably been the umpteenth time we've talked together through the years. And of course, you're amazing, Live Aid. I was up in the sky in Concord, didn't see it, but boy, people still talk about it.
You know what? I might never get this opportunity again, so I'm just going to say, if it's all right, because I am honestly the biggest Live Aid fan. I mean, I'm genuinely a bit of an encyclopedia on it. I mean, I used to watch all the DVDs back to back, follow it. I even have a piece in my new show about Live Aid. Even I've got all these like little these pop cards where you from Live Aid, so you can come and I do this big prediction. And honestly, just to see your face and to be able to say hello, it really is a dream. So I just wanted to say
that's very sweet of you. Thank you very much.
Everything you did for rock and roll, because truly, there's no concert that will ever touch it. So thank you.
Thank you.
And I wish I'd seen the bloody thing, because as you know,
I was 1 year old, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I was in Concord up there and never saw the bloody thing. But there you go.
All right, guys.
All right, Laura.
Later.
Bless you.
Bye.
Bless you.
Bye.
Thank you. And is it really true that Do They Know It's Christmas is the second highest selling single of all time in the UK?
For a few years, up until Princess Diana died, it was the biggest selling record in British chart history, which is just ludicrous. So if you're going to be beaten by, a track or a producer, so George Martin produced the Candle in the Wind song. And I produced the Band-Aid one. So if you're going to be beaten by a good producer, George Martin's not a bad guy to put you at the post.
That'll do. But of course, you worked with George Martin in later years, didn't you?
I did. I was incredibly fortunate. I mean, I worked with some fantastic people over the years. And George, I've described, for anyone who doesn't know, and there can't be anyone on the planet who doesn't know who George Martin was. He produced the Beatles, of course, all those classic pieces of music that we all cut our teeth on.
And Peter Sellers.
And what, sorry?
And Peter Sellers as well.
And Peter Sellers, absolutely. He did all the Goons things, for the BBC. George was just, he was a cross between your father and your favourite school teacher. He was just so knowledgeable and so eloquent, and he was a brilliant raconteur as well as an amazing musician.
So let's go back. Before Midge, there was Jim, which is your real name. What was Jim like as a lad? Were you sort of normal? Were you music obsessed? What were you like?
Normal in Glasgow would have been, loving football, which I didn't. So in that sense, I wasn't normal. My old mother used to say, your head's full of broken bottles, because if I shake you, you'd rattle. I was a dreamer, as a fantasist. I listened to the radio all the time. Growing up, listening to those George Martin productions, listening to, the Mersey sound, listening to Radio 1 when it started, all of that stuff. And dreaming of owning a guitar one day. So I was an absolute fantasist, which is okay, because that's quite a nice thing to have. Yeah. I was born in a Glasgow slum. The fantasy took you out of that, Yeah,
I remember what they said about Glasgow. If you've got both ears by the time you're 8, you're a sissy.
That's probably quite true back in the day, yeah.
So when did this, so you got your guitar, I take it, and when did you make that sort of quantum step into doing it, well, not professionally, but what was your first sort of paid gig? Can you remember?
Not really. It took quite a long time before you actually made any money at doing it.
Of course.
As soon as you get your guitar, you find somebody else in school who's got a guitar. The only place you were allowed to go and play the things was the folk club.
Yeah.
And I knew nothing about folk music, but in the folk club, you'd see somebody else who had a guitar. So the two of you would get together, and that's the nucleus of a band. You've got two of you sitting strumming, let's learn how to play this latest record, and you put it on the record player and play it over and over and over while you're sitting there trying to work it out. We were self-taught. We couldn't afford music lessons. So I think that it grows from there. I was playing in bands since I was like 14 or 15. And then it was time to kind of get the proper job. You know, I became an apprentice engineer when I was 16, which was the job of my parents' dreams.
Right.
To have a skill at your fingertips, to
Yes,
be an
yes.
engineer, a mechanic, an electrician, whatever it happened to be. And that meant you'd have a job for life, you know.
Yeah.
So I did that until I got the opportunity of joining what was in Scotland a well-known band at the time. I left the apprenticeship at 18.
And what was the band?
The band was called Salvation.
That's right,
And
yes.
I joined the band to play guitar. I didn't actually go for the audition. I went with the keyboard player who was in my band because we didn't like him very much, and we wanted him to join this other band. And while they were auditioning him, they asked me to play guitar because they'd seen me doing the Scottish circuit. So I played guitar. Of course, they offered me the job as guitarist. And then the vocalist finally left after a couple of years, and I took over vocals and chopped all my long hair off when I had hair, and we changed the name to Slik.
A bit of Phil Collins going on here then. So you when one leaves, you take over the mantle. And
Yeah,
and
absolutely. Yeah, but step forward, step up to the microphone, young man.
That's it. And what was it like? Was it a thrill? Was it all you thought it would be? I mean, in Slik, for instance, because you were signed to the basically Rollers label, Bell, weren't you?
That's right. It was Arista. It was Bell Records.
That's
and
it.
it was the same writers and producers, Bill Martin and Phil Coulter,
Yeah.
who wrote all the Congratulations for Cliff and Puppet in a String for Sandy Shaw and all the Bay City Rollers hits. So suffice to say, we turn up at a recording studio, 400 miles south in London, with our equipment on the truck, and we turn up at the studio, and they had knocked off the backing track for our song that day. The same guys who played on all the Rollers things. So it just sounded exactly like the Bay
It
City
did. I
Rollers.
remember it.
Bizarre.
Yeah. It was slick in its own way. And then the trail of bands that you've had and associations since those days is ridiculous. I mean, I was obviously checking out on Wikipedia and that. I mean, it took me about 15 minutes to get through the amount of bands you've been in. So when Slik finished, remind me what happened after that.
Well, Slik was still going. We ended up breaking the contract. We couldn't stand, making these songs and making these records anymore. And by the time it was 1976 when Slik signed the contract. 1977, punk was starting.
Punk, yeah.
So this whole new wave thing came along and blew us all out the water. All these teeny pop bands all just disappeared because punk was a new thing. And we broke the contract and hoped to, be re-signed. Of course, that was never going to happen. And I got a phone call from Glenn Matlock, Sex Pistol, saying, I was speaking to a journalist the other day, I'm looking for a singer-guitarist for my band, the Rich Kids, and they suggested you because they'd seen you perform live and knew you could do it. And I ended up moving down to London. The first day I got there, went into a rehearsal studio with the other three guys in the band and learned 3 songs. Went out that evening and we opened up for the Police at the Angel Islington. We blagged our way in. We went to a warehouse party with Sid and Nancy and The Clash and all these people I'd been reading about, and we played our 3 songs there. Then we went to the People's Palace in Camden and the Boomtown Rats were playing. So we got up and we played our 3 songs there as well. It was kind of baptism by fire. It was quite amazing. Yeah.
Were you not asked to join the Pistols? Is that true or not?
It's true, yeah.
Oh, it is true.
I mean, I didn't know it was the Pistols at the time. I was stopped coming out. Again, this is just pre-Slik, just before I cut all my hair off. And I was coming out, I'm lying, I had cut my hair off. And I was coming out of a guitar shop in Glasgow, and I was stopped by this English guy who happened to be Bernie Rhodes, who went on to manage The Clash.
Yeah.
And he said, my mate's round the corner, can we just speak to you about music for a minute? And what used to happen in Glasgow was when big bands would come up and they'd have a broken amplifier or a broken guitar or needed a keyboard, you couldn't just rent those things. The facility wasn't there. So when they come to the Glasgow Apollo, which was the big venue, who used to manage the band I was in, they'd say, go and find Midge, he's running McCormack's, the music shop, and this is what he looks like, and he'll lend you an amp or something. And I thought it was about that. And I walk round the corner, and in this car is Malcolm McLaren, who was the most bizarre-looking person I'd ever seen in my life.
Absolutely.
In 1976 or 77. And he told me about what he did and his shop and Vivienne Westwood and the clothes. And he said, I'm putting a band together. Do you want to join? And I thought, well, you haven't asked me what I do. You know, you just seen me walk out of a guitar shop, so I presume you think I'm a musician, but you didn't say whether you wanted a drummer or a vocalist or a guitarist or a bass player. So I said, no, thanks, no, not at all. So I didn't join the Pistols, but it turns out that they had driven all the way from London, stopping off at, Birmingham and Newcastle and Manchester and whatever, all zigzagging all the way up to Glasgow to sell some slightly hot equipment in the boot of the car. So I didn't join the Pistols, but I bought an amplifier.
You bought an amp from them. The second best thing. But I mean, as far as rock and roll goes, it does seem that punk ended on the 31st of December of 1979, and New Romanticism started on a day later. I know it didn't, but it felt like that. It was, of course, the New Romance was just deliberately opposite what punk stood for. So, but how did you make that transition? Because there you were in sort of punky land, and then all of a sudden, because you were such an 80s person, was that difficult to make that transition?
It's all part of growing up, isn't it? It's just you're growing up in the slightly public eye. I'm growing up musically. I'd moved from Slik, transitioned into the Rich Kids, which wasn't a punk band as such. It was turned power pop. But because of Glenn's background with the Pistols, that was what was thrust upon you. During the Rich Kids, I bought a synthesizer, and I wanted to integrate a synthesizer into a rock band.
Right.
Rock band. And half the band hated it, and half the band loved it. And the half the band who loved it was the drummer, Rusty Egan, and myself. And through working with this synthesizer, we developed the idea of Visage. And through working on the Visage project, which was a project that involved all our favourite musicians, the guys from Magazine, Billy Currie, keyboard player from Ultravox.
Yep.
We all worked on this project together. And that was when Ultravox, as they were at the time, went off on tour to America and came back a completely broken band. The singer had left, the guitarist had left, the record label had just dropped them. So there was no future for them whatsoever. But for me, it was the band that I really wanted to be part of. I loved what they were doing. I loved the sound they were generating. This combination of electronics, technology, violins and rock instruments. It was an odd combination, but it really scratched my musical itch.
In the cold air, freezing breath on a window pane, lying and waiting. A man in the dark in a picture frame, so mystic and soulful. Reaching out in a piercing cry, it stays with you until the feeling is gone, only you and I, it means nothing to me. This means nothing to me. Oh, Vienna.
And of course, you were writing quite a lot. I mean, one of my all-time favourite, "Dancing with Tears in My Eyes," and is just one of my big goosebumpy songs. I think you penned that one, didn't you?
We did, yeah. The Ultravox, we wrote everything together, yeah.
Yeah, but it was absolutely wonderful. And of course, just a little add-on here: John Fox, who was the original singer, my wife, who I've known 50 years, she decided in about 90, whatever it was, 89, to get rid of me. And as I was coming down the stairs, so John Fox came up and took over the mantle of her boyfriend. And I met him a couple of times. A very nice chap and very clever too, I think. But anyway, I digress. So there you are. You're in the 80s. I don't remember you particularly being what's the word? Fashion conscious. I mean, there was Steve Strange, and there were a lot of us walking around in skirts and heavy makeup. But you seem to remain, whatever the word, normal throughout this transition. Is that true?
Well, I think that's an element of it. I mean, you do. You know, it's like running through a tunnel, isn't it? You know, so every so often you brush the sides of it, and a little bit, you know, the dust sticks to you. So you are you, but you go through slight transitions, just like the music does. As the music grows up and gets a bit more adult and a bit more thoughtful, and the songs get better and whatever, you know, it doesn't mean that you've forgotten everything you did back then. It doesn't mean that the records you used to listen to as a kid you'll never listen to again. When people say, what's your big influence? You think, well, which period are you talking about? Are you talking about when I was a kid? Was it the Small Faces, or was it the Who, or was it the Beatles, or was it David Bowie, or was it, you know, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on, and I'm still, you know, brushing my shoulders against the side of this tunnel, and little things stick to you. You don't look for it, and what comes out at the end is you. You're made up, just like all the books you read, all the movies you've seen, all the people you've met, all your teachers who try to guide you, and whatever. Everyone who's ever done that, a little bit of every one of them sticks with you, and that makes you the individual you are. So I was fortunate that I was able to grow and run through that myriad of bands that you mentioned, you know, all of those things, and take a little bit of each thing with me and learn something from each thing that I went into. And that's what makes you you.
So you get your little Pandora's box, whatever it is, of as you say, just putting the jigsaw together, I guess.
Exactly. You're picking up the pieces for the jigsaw. That's a very good way of picking it. Looking at it.
And of course, solo hits, If I Was, and all that stuff. So again, another reinvention and all that stuff, and project after project after project. It's ridiculous. There's a book of projects by Midge Ure. It's great. And also, I don't know if you're aware, but you do have a reputation of being a really nice guy, and that's I think like
that's a book in itself. That's a book of lies.
I think ability is one thing, but likability is everything, I think. But besides that, so you're moving through the 80s, your solo hits here and there, and then of course we have the Band-Aid thing, and so that was like a big explosion in your life, I suppose.
It was, but it landed at the right time, I have to say. I was very fortunate, you know, when the whole thing came about. I was playing live on the Tube, the TV show from Newcastle, and I'm talking to Paula Yates, who was Bob Geldof's girlfriend at the time. She's hugely pregnant. The phone rings in her dressing room, and it's Bob on the phone, and she said, "He wants to speak to you," and handed me the phone, because I'd known Bob for years at this point. And of course, the record idea grew out of that. And initially, my thing was when he said, "Look, I want to do this. I want to do something. Can you help?" And I thought, my first reaction was, because I hadn't seen any footage. I was on the TV show, so I didn't know what was going on really. Was to go, "I'm kind of busy, you know." And then you see the footage and you go, "Well, I'm not that busy." This is crazy. This is ludicrous.
Yeah.
So with the idea of the song was born of writing something. We couldn't just cover a standard Christmas song, because 50% of the money generated from a record sale goes to the writers. So you couldn't just cover a song, a Christmas standard. So we had to write something, we had to create something. And it just kind of piecemeal, bit by bit. I had just built a studio on the garden, and learning how to operate the thing. And I played all the instruments on the record except Phil Collins drums.
Really? I didn't know.
Yeah. No. So I layered it. I did it bit by bit, while Bob, cajoled and bludgeoned various artists that he knew that he'd bump into in King's Road to come along and lend their name to this thing. And it just grew. It just became this massive, wonderful monster that we couldn't really stop. Right up until the day we finished the record, the day at Sam's Studios where all the artists were there, and I had 24 hours to teach them the song, decide who was singing which parts, record Phil Collins' drums, do all the big choral bits, all the big choir things, and mix the record, because it had to be in the pressing plants the next morning. So at 8 o'clock in the morning, after 24 hours in the studio, I got in my car and I'm driving home. Bob took a cassette to Radio 1, and I heard on the radio, I had the radio on. I'm driving back to Chiswick, and I hear Bob in the studio, and they put a cassette on, which is unheard of.
Absolutely.
They do not play cassettes.
No.
And the moment it finished, they rewound it and they played it again. And I'm sitting in my car with a tear in my eye and a lump in my throat thinking, this is huge.
Wow.
This is huge,
Well, I mean, you won't be known just for this. I still think, perhaps I shouldn't say it, that you should be a Sir, but there you go. I thought you should. I mean, Bob definitely deserved it, but I think you did too. But that debate will just probably go on until life's over. But, I mean, you are a man of projects. Here we are, it's 2026. Have you got more projects, Midge, in that brain of yours?
There's always projects, David. You quite rightly say. I'm constantly working. If I'm not, I'm touring an awful lot these days. I've been touring an awful lot for the last 10 years probably. I've just re-engaged with the joy of getting my guitar on and playing my guitar. And it's how we all start. None of us start in a recording studio. None of us start making a record. You start by going out and playing clubs. That's how it all worked. So I do lots of that, and when I'm not there, I'm in the studio creating something new. So I've just released a double album of songs and instrumentals. So it's a double record, one full instrumental album, which I've always wanted to do, and still out and about, still touring, off again tomorrow. That's what happens, the plane awaits.
Well, the 80s are very much alive and kicking. There's all those retro festivals everywhere. I always see your name up there, and it's incredible. They call it the decade that just won't go away. And I'm part of an 80s station now, an all 80s pop station. So it's incredible. I suppose there is life after the 80s because it's life itself, isn't it? So that keeps you busy anyway.
Well, there's an entire world has come around that didn't exist in the 80s. So we've got the internet now. So at any given moment, you've got internet radio and you've got, movies on Netflix or whatever using your tracks and the soundtracks. It's kept the music alive, but also there was something in the water in the 1980s, because irrespective of what genre of artist you thought you were, whether you thought you were punk or electronic or pop or soul or whatever, everybody wrote really good songs.
I know.
Everybody, it's like I
know.
don't know what was going on. If you could go back there in a TARDIS and write it all down, learn how it works and bottle it and sell it now, it would be a much better world, I think.
It's the soundtrack of our lives for sure. And before we depart, just a quick plug for the album. What's it called, Midge, the new album?
It's called A Man of Two Worlds.
Well, indeed, very true. Many worlds, Midge Ure. Thank you very much indeed. Good luck with everything, mate. And lovely to see you.
And you.
God bless. Okay, thanks to Midge. And after the break, we've got Billy Kulke. Yes. Led Zeppelin are huge again, and Letz Zep are the biggest tribute band in the world. Billy's the singer. He is Robert Plant. Find out more after the break. And welcome back. Now, tribute bands are the thing of the day. Everywhere you look, there's a tribute to just about everything. Letz Zep are just at the top of the pile. They are the top Led Zeppelin tribute band on the planet. Lead singer, a.k.a. Robert Plant, is Billy Kulke. Billy, welcome.
Hey. Hello, Steve. How are you?
Hello, mate. Great to see you. And I've seen you live, and I'm not a Led Zepp fan particularly, but by God, I saw you locally. I mean, a couple of years ago, I remember. Now, it was absolutely incredible. I mean, of course, what puts you above all the other bands is that Robert Plant evidently came in. I came in and saw me. Now, that's a quote. I mean, that probably was the ultimate compliment, yeah?
Well, absolutely. And it was in the early days. We started off just for our own entertainment and our own hobby, sort of played 3 or 4 times a year. And we were starting to get big crowds. And then Robert Plant came one night, and we were told Robert Plant's coming tonight. We were like, oh, yeah, sure, you know.
Sure, yeah.
And it was only a smallish venue in Camden, and the door opened sort of halfway through the show, and Robert Plant walked in, and it was just this silhouette, which was unmistakable, of being the man himself standing in the doorway. So he stayed and watched the show. I spoke to him, and he said, yeah, I walked in, I saw me. It's like watching myself on stage. And we thought, well, maybe we're good. Maybe we ought to put a tour together. So, yeah, we put a tour together in the UK, and then we went on to Spain and the Netherlands, and now it's worldwide.
Well, there's another quote I saw that someone, I don't know who it was, said that your band is actually better than if the original band got back together, which is another incredible compliment. I mean, it looks and sounds like Led Zeppelin, but I mean, you're also a bloody good band. I mean, that's a rock and roll band first, I guess, and the Led Zepp tribute second.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the first thing is you got to get the right musicians, and everybody has a really good music pedigree, and it is just a fantastic rocking band. And you know, most of the emails we get to our website are from people who said they weren't a Zeppelin fan, their friend or their boyfriend or whatever brought them along with a spare ticket, and they said they absolutely loved it. And now they're the biggest Zeppelin fan on earth, went out and bought all the records. So, yeah, it's just a great rock show, whether you're a fan of that genre or not.
Well, you come from the home of pop, if I can say that, Liverpool. I mean, as a lad, looking perhaps at the Beatles and during the Pacemakers, did you feel that's going to be me one day?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my sister's slightly older than me, so on her bedroom wall, she had Jerry and the Pacemakers and the Beatles posters everywhere you went. Liverpool was the city of music. And you'd have a guitar, you'd go into school, and during lunchtime and after school, you'd play and swap licks and things like that. And then in the evenings, go and see bands, and thought one day, yeah, that's going to be me up there. I'd like to do that. That's what I'd like to do.
And when you discovered Led Zeppelin, did the world open up in front of you? Was it like that?
Oh, yes, it was. Because like I say, you go to school with guitar, people would bring records in, vinyl records, and put something on new. You have to bring something new for people to listen. And when somebody put Led Zeppelin, it was Zeppelin 4, the first track was Black Dog. I'd never heard anything like it, and I thought, well, this is now my muse. This is where I'm aiming towards.
And so the heartstrings went, and you said, well, that's gonna be it. So everything else disappears, I guess, into second place, and Led Zepp becomes it. So how did you go about that? Because tribute bands today, they not got in the music industry, if I'm honest, not got a great name, because the only people who appear to be earning money these days are tribute bands, because original music just doesn't fill seats. But having said that, did you set out to be that tribute band? Was that exactly what you want, or were you thinking, well, let's do a band with a bit of Led Zepp in it?
No, obviously in the 80s I was in original bands. I had moved to London, to do that, and we did quite well. We were headlining the Marquee. I went on tour with Ozzy Osbourne,
wow.
and Roger Daltrey and Uriah Heep and bands like this. But you reach a point where you realise we were kind of top of Division 2, but we never made that jump into the Premier League, And it was just a case of, well, we want to stay. Music's part of you. You want to play. You want to challenge yourself musically. So we'll do our favourite band, which is Led Zeppelin.
Right.
And it was totally about that. And as I said, we were enjoying playing it, and then Plant walks in, And the next thing you know, I'm back to being a full-time musician and I'm touring the world again, you know.
I've got to ask you one thing. You supported Ozzy and all these people. What the hell were you doing with the Moody Blues? Because I saw John Lodge, recently departed John Lodge.
Yes.
So I used to look after Blue Jays myself as a plugger, and John and Justin. But as a Moody Blues fan, what the hell were you doing with them? I just can't see that pairing at all.
Well, no, and what it was, you've seen the picture of us together. Well, we did a cruise out of Miami, and John Lodge was on the same bill as us. So he watched us perform. We never worked together. But afterwards, he said he really enjoyed the show, and he came up and he had his photograph taken with us. That's probably what you've seen.
Yeah.
He was very complimentary, and I was sad to hear of his passing recently.
Yeah, very sad indeed. At least I think Justin's the only one left out of probably out of both sets of Moody Blues. But anyway, so yeah, you couldn't be more different, I suppose. So what happens next? How does the evolution work? From clubs and pubs and all that, but, you're getting, you're at the top now. Has it been a gradual rise, or did something? I suppose the Robert Plant quote didn't exactly halt things. It must have been of huge use.
The Robert Plant quote has made our career. Thank you, Robert, for coming to our show. And I've seen him a few times, and he's always very complimentary. But then after that, Jimmy Page, he used to look after a charity called Task Brazil.
Yep.
And he was doing a show in the Borderline in Soho, and he asked would Letz Zep perform at this charity concert of his. So we from Robert Plant come to see us, we're playing at the Led Zeppelin charity show, and then at their launch album for the Mothership, we played the launch party for that. So that was kind of meteoric in that way. But as I said, I played in bands in the 80s. I started getting in touch with all the contacts I had out in Spain and Holland. And from Spain, that's where the quote you referenced earlier, better than a Led Zeppelin reunion.
Yeah, right, yeah.
That was in Kerrang magazine in Spain.
That's it, Kerrang, yeah.
Yeah, and because it was in Spanish, we got picked up in South America then. And they flew us out to Brazil and Mexico and Uruguay and Venezuela. On the back of our Spanish reviews, which said, as you quoted, better than a Led Zeppelin reunion.
That's amazing.
It's totally amazing. And then in about 2011, France discovered tribute bands and discovered the 70s. So they were looking for, who's the biggest band of the 70s? Led Zeppelin, and we were offered a major tour of France, which really launched us into the rest of Europe. Then we were picked up in, Germany, Luxembourg, Switzerland and Scandinavia. And now Australia as well. So we've now played on every continent except Antarctica.
So, Billy, is this the extent of Led Zep? Or Letz Zep? Is there a bigger thing to do? I mean, how big can you get, or are you just happy with the way it is now?
Oh no, it's always been our intention to be bigger and bigger and better and take in more territories and take in more parts of the world. And to, like I say, to an extent, it does do that. We did a major tour of France in 2011, and we're back out there again in September, October of this year. And that's a major theatre show. We've done the Paris Olympia Theatre. I don't know if you're aware of that. It's like the French equivalent of the Royal Albert Hall.
Blimey.
And we've sold that out 5 times. And I believe that's a record. I don't think anybody's ever sold it out 5 times. I mean, the Beatles played there, Jimi Hendrix, Jeff Buckley. I mean, the list of artists that have played there is just fantastic. And we wish to, not just carry on doing this, but take it as big as we can.
What's the best vibe of an audience? I mean, if there's a choice, I mean, you don't see them because of the lights, but you certainly you must feel the passion, feel the energy.
Yeah.
Is there a particular place where that happens?
Well, South America is a very enthusiastic crowd. We did Viva Latino in Mexico with Jane's Addiction, and the crowd, I've never seen anything like it. I had to stand back from the stage because I thought people were crushing too much. But you do feel that the excitement of the audience building before we come on. You can feel that the atmosphere growing, very much in Germany and the Scandinavian countries. But I think South America, that's a different level.
I suppose you get it with the expectancy when you walk out. There's
that's right.
that roar.
Yeah.
Only you could know how big that feels. It's there's a roar and then there's a big roar, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, and also, we come with a certain reputation, and people are waiting, to see what we sound like from the off, and then when we start with the opening chords and the vocals come in, and people are totally on our side from that moment.
Well, Billy, it's wonderful to talk to you. I'd love to see you again. I thoroughly enjoyed seeing you that day, and I've never forgot it. And in fact, I've become a little bit more of a Led Zep fan than I was when I first walked in. But great to see you. So thanks indeed. Good luck with everything. So let's now have a bit of Letz Zep with Billy Kulke, a.k.a. Robert Plant, on stage. Roll camera.
You're watching Spectrum on Air. XPTV3.
And welcome back to the Waffle Show. Okay, it's been a great day. Let's have a quick chat with our three guests before we depart. Who's up there?
Midge.
Midge Ure. So, Midge, thanks for today. So, what are you up to at the moment? What's new in the Ure household?
Oh, you know what it's like, Steve. It's just the same old, same old, same old. Churn them out and get out there touring. Constant touring.
No albums, no singles, having a
I
rest?
just released a new album a month ago, so I'm out and about, off to Australia in at the end of the year, New Zealand, catching up. You know how it is. It's life's just hard.
It is. Are you doing any of these 80s retro festivals? I think I saw you on the bill a while ago.
Yeah, those things are great. I mean, they've now spread all around the world, so it's fantastic. When you thought your career was going to last 5 years if you were lucky, who saw these things coming? So it's great. They're great, those things, because you get a chance to hang out with all the pals that you should have had back in the 80s, but you were too busy sucking your cheeks in, trying to be haughty and aloof. So now we've all become friends.
Oh, the 80s, a decade that just won't go away.
It won't go away, thank goodness.
Well, don't go away, Midge, but it's been lovely seeing you. Who's up next? Where are we? Speaking to another guest now. Who's up there?
Oh, well, there's me, Laura.
Oh, Laura, thanks for
Oh, what
today.
a pleasure it's been.
Absolutely wonderful. So, before you disappear, literally, what's for you? I mean, you're a busy lady, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I've been working on my new show, so that's, I think, the one thing to look out for. That probably is going to start touring next year. In the meantime, I'm just sort of doing my cheat show and private events, really, so it's kind of a little hard to catch me, but you just have to follow my socials and see where I'm at, and hopefully I get to see some of you there, and if you do come and say hello, and you saw us here on the Waffle TV.
There you go. Well, we're dead proud of you. Well done, and one up for the ladies. Okay, and Billy Kulke.
Steve,
Letz Zep, you're a busy bee as well. What's that? Not another world tour, surely. What's next for you?
Yeah, it's this new world tour as part of the never-ending world tour, which basically started in 2011 and just gets bigger every year. So yeah, we've had a small break over the summer, then we're back off in the UK, France, Germany, Oh yes, Scandinavia, of course. And then next year, we not to be announced yet. We're back in Australia, so look out for that one.
Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, you know, busy bees, a lot of you. Thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate your time, and it was lovely seeing you all. And that's about it from the wiki wacky world of the Waffle Show. Till next time, we say bye-bye, and whatever you do, keep waffling.